What's up is Way Up with Angela Yee, and I am so interested to hear what's about to happen. Louis Carr is here, the president of BET. It's been 2 months now since you've been appointed.
A little over 2 months.
A little over 2 months, but you've been at BET for almost 40 years. 40 years?
Yes, you can say 40. It'll be 40 in a few months.
40 years. Imagine that. You must have started when you were 2, right?
That's correct.
So I asked you just now, how's it going? How's your day? And crazy busy.
Crazy busy.
Is this what you anticipated? Because I know moving from the position you were in where you really dealt with more of the money side of things, and now it's everything.
It has been super busy, but super exciting at the same time. Mm-hmm. As you know, my primary job is to open up the brand to as many people as possible, and that's on the creative side and on the consumer side. We want to be a brand that serves the community, that serves culture, and connects the two together. So it's an exciting time because I don't think you can be a brand like BET in today's world and not serve your community in a deep and special way. So our community, as you know, they want to be seen.
Yep.
They want to be heard. They want to be understood.
Represented well.
And they want to be served. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're here for.
Well, it is such an interesting time. And there's a lot of factors that are outside of your control that now are being dealt with mergers and so many different things happening. So first I want to talk about some decisions that were made and kind of the thinking behind it, because obviously we read headlines and we don't know what happened. So BET, Hip Hop Awards, Soul Train Awards, all of that, that's a pause. Is that it's coming back, or what's happening?
Well, we hope to bring one of those back this year. So stand by. So for an official announcement, we hope to bring one of those back this year. You know, we're just trying to figure out how to sort of reimagine it in a way that makes sense financially and also makes sense entertaining-wise. And so we're in deep conversations, and we think we got to figure it out.
You've been recognized so much when it comes to advertising as well. Do you find that, because you talked about financially, do you find things are a lot more difficult right now when it comes to advertising dollars? I know that's been an ongoing conversation on where money is spent, even though we may have the metrics to show that this is something that's widely viewed in an audience that an advertiser should want to spend dollars in. Those dollars a lot of times don't add up.
Well, I think what you have now, you have so many choices, so many platforms, and so many places to go. So it's a real complex for a marketer to choose which one at which time. So it is our job, and I think solely on us, to sort of educate them on the real opportunities at the real moments that they need us. And we're in conversations to do that right now. So I'm never disappointed. I'm always saying it's just an opportunity for us to do better.
You went to school for broadcast journalism.
I wanted to be you.
We can switch if you want. Listen. But it's interesting because then, you were on the business side of things, and now you're also creative.
Yes.
So how does that feel for you? Kind of, I feel like this is a space that it is something that you may have wanted, but maybe got, in a different area.
Well, one of the things, I understand what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. I'm an operator at the end of the day. So I have a great team of people who will be making creative decisions and finding creative talent. Currently, right now, I'm just trying to meet with everybody, whether you are a creator or influence talent, to try to understand as much as I can. But I'm in the learning phase right now, but I have a great team who are experts and professionals at this. So I'm very confident that we'll be successful.
Now, we just saw in the news recently, it was headline news, 106 in Sports. That came 8 episodes, or was it 6 episodes? What was the issue with 106 in Sports?
There was not any issue with 106 in Sports at all. What we're trying to do is say, hey, let's pause and look at our entire portfolio and see where are the things that we want to concentrate on right now.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing right now. We're just reevaluating our content and say, where's the place to go? We understand that we want to go deeper into community. We want to go deeper into culture, and we want to probably do more in live events than we've ever done before.
Okay. I was going to ask you what that means when you think about looking at the portfolio and seeing what you want. You know, people will tell you that when it comes to like positive community, sometimes those don't bring in numbers. And that bothers me a lot because I like to watch things like that. I want to know where is that balance, because we see a lot of TV shows and people will call it quote unquote ratchet TV. Those are what brings in the numbers. People want to see fights. If it's not anything that is controversial happening, for some people might say, oh, it's boring, nobody wants to see that. What's the balance for you when it comes to that? Because I personally don't believe that. I think people do want content, but how does that get delivered in a way where financially it makes sense?
So what we're doing is focusing on the brand and how we serve our community. And we can serve our community in multiple ways. I'll give you an example.
Yes.
BET hasn't had a social impact program in about 15 years.
Wow.
Okay, the last one was Wrap It Up, and it was serving HIV, education on HIV. So this year, we're going to talk about mental health, because whatever our issues are, whether it's economic, whether it's political, whether it's social, at the end of the day, it causes you some mental concerns, all right? And so we want to focus on mental health in 26 as we sort of move forward. That's serving our community. I think when we inform people, whether it's through our digital assets or our social assets, about the facts in politics, whether we're encouraging people to vote, whether we're encouraging people to go to the doctor, that is serving our community. So there are multiple ways we plan to serve our community, just not through our content.
It's so funny because there was a conversation on Threads. I believe it was my friend Angelina who started it. And she was like, we need to bring BET News back or something like that. Is that a consideration too? Or
we want to bring news and information back, but in the way people consume it today. You know, so we know most of our audience, they don't turn on the 10 o'clock news like that.
Right.
So they go to Facebook, they go to IG, they go to TikTok, you know, to get their news and information. We have to be on those platforms. We have to be putting information out on those platforms to sort of address their needs and concerns.
Now, earlier I talked about things kind of outside forces, and we've seen a lot of news about the mergers and about the president of the country kind of squashing certain things that he doesn't like, or people, lawsuits, all of those types of things. How does that affect programming or even like conversations that are being had?
It hasn't affected us at all. All right. You know, people have asked me that multiple times. There has been hardly anything that I've wanted to do in the last 60 days that they told me you can't do that.
You're like, it's been 2 months.
Right. So I haven't experienced that. So I can't even address that because I haven't experienced that at all.
Right. I mean, they definitely in the middle of a storm. Here you are. How did that even happen? I want to know what conversation was had, because clearly somebody doesn't just become president quickly. This has to have been like ongoing conversations. What were your thoughts when this opportunity came up? Did you bring it up? Were you approached?
I was approached. I did not bring it up. Matter of fact, I had my eye focused on a career, someplace else. And this was brought to me, and I really had to think about it. And the things that I had to think about was, can I be successful?
Right.
Because I want the brand to flourish and thrive in a time where it's very complex in our industry right now. So I had to do some self-evaluation. I had to think about resources. I had to think about people. I had to think about my wife. She had a lot to say about this. A lot to say. She was very concerned, and she made her opinion known to me.
What was her concerns?
Don't you want to come in out the rain? Ain't you tired? I don't want you to be home with me every day. Let me be clear.
Right.
But aren't you tired? And I wasn't that tired.
Right.
Not at all.
And a new fun challenge sometimes can be really invigorating.
And I think the brand deserves to thrive at this particular time in our country. Every single person I've talked to over the last couple of months, they're like, we want BET to win.
Yeah.
And
we
that
grew
has
up. It's
been
a nostalgic brand.
And encouraging to me. And people have said, anything you need, we'll help. Anywhere you want to partner, we'll do it. So it's been a very exciting time to hear people say, hey, I want you to win, and I'm willing to contribute anything I can to make that happen.
How many people have been pitching ideas to you?
Oh, everybody. Everybody
walk
has
in
been
the room,
pitching ideas.
hey, I have an idea. I know what they need.
But you know what? I listen to everybody.
Yeah.
Because great ideas can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
So you can't dismiss anybody, whether they're young, they're old, they're in the profession, they're not in the profession. Great ideas can come from everywhere.
But there's also a way it has to be done too, right? Because sometimes this happens a lot too. They'll be like, I had this idea, I pitched it, I saw Lewis, and then they took my idea. Because sometimes there are ideas that multiple people can have.
Yes. I mean,
Right.
like, we're getting back into comedy.
Yeah.
All right. And we
Thank
want to.
goodness.
I think that's part of our culture. We have to be in the comedy. So we sort of look at some of the fundamental tenets that makes up Black culture. Comedy's one of them. So we're going to get back in that business. I think gospel music is one of them. So we're thinking about trying to get back in that business. So our culture is just not made up of hip hop and fashion.
Right.
It's much broader than that, much more influential than that. So we want to sort of help people sort of understand that, define that, and engage in every aspect of it.
And I want to say when it comes to comedy, a lot of comedians also will touch on commentary about events and about, I think that helps too, because a lot of times comedians, and it's a reflection on what's going on in the news.
Yes.
Because they are able to speak intelligently but also make you laugh at a time when we frankly do need to sometimes laugh.
Yeah, I think most comedians are current, all right? Dave Chappelle, I mean, most of his comedy is current. It's about situations that we're dealing with at that particular time. So I'm really excited about, really getting back in that business.
What are some other things that you can tell us now? Because I know there's announcements coming, but what are some things that you can let us know now that are already, and look, I don't want to rush you. I know it's, only been a little more than 2 months.
And you see my PR person over there staring at me, right?
Yeah.
Like hold on.
Give me a little something though. We know each other. But I mean, I think people are interested, to know like what are some things that we can expect to see in our and
you'll see we're in the competitive sports business this summer, all right? In a way that you probably don't expect, and it's going to be in business with somebody I'm saying somebody but we'll be in that business this summer.
I feel like is it a woman?
No, it's a man.
See, look, all these little hints.
It's a man.
That I'm not allowed to talk about now. So first couple of months, what are some of the wins that you've seen so far, and what have been some of the biggest challenges in this position?
Well, what we've seen is the biggest wins is the amount of people who want to be in business.
Yeah,
with
of course
us.
they do.
I mean, that's super exciting and super encouraging. I've met with everybody from Issa Rae to Pharrell, and they are looking to try to figure out how they can be in business with BET.
That's great.
That's super exciting. Some of the challenges is just like in any business, do you have enough money to do everything all at the same time? Well, the obvious answer is no. So you have to figure out where your priorities are going to be for this year, but at the same time, keep your eye on 27.
Right.
So that's what I'm currently doing right now as an operator, thinking about the rest of 26, but at the same time, thinking about 2027.
It might be time for another book for you soon, too. I know you're thinking
not yet.
No, I'm saying if I were you, I would be documenting, all of this, because this is going to be an important story.
Yes.
For people to be able to see in this day and age.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
What about you getting on the TV?
Oh, that's not going to happen. I had dreams of that when I was in college, that I would be in front of the camera, and that's just not going to happen.
How do you like being the person that's being interviewed?
Well,
is it?
I don't mind that,
okay.
Because I have a vision, and because I've been around forever, I got a story. So, and the journey has been amazing. I've been blessed beyond my imagination. So I'm super excited.
So when you first started at BET, what was your position 40 years ago?
I was an account executive out of Chicago, and I had never heard of this thing called BET. I had met with Bob Johnson 3 times. He offered me the job 3 times. I said no, because it's like, what is BET and what is cable? Because it was just that new.
That's so crazy.
And he had this dream, and he told me about, we'll have a corporate campus, we'll be the #1 brand in Black America, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, that's never going to happen. What a nice guy, but it's not going to happen. And look what happened.
Right.
Look what happened.
What made you decide to say yes?
He told me a story. One night at midnight, he called me and he said, Lewis, I really want you to be a part of this journey with me. But if you don't, I understand. But I want to be clear. I'm going to be successful. He said, I just rather be successful with you. Mm-hmm. And that just hit me.
Right.
I would rather be successful with you. And I took the leap.
Okay, so you started off as an account executive, and then what did that transition into?
Went from an account executive to a director to a vice president to a senior vice president to an executive vice president to a president. So I've had all the jobs along the way.
No, that's good. You know how to do everything.
Yes. Yes.
So, because when I'm thinking about leadership, we always talk about to be a leader, it's important to know how something runs, and you really know it thoroughly from the inside out.
And I always say that I'm a great follower. Mm-hmm. I am great at taking instructions and being disciplined. I'm a former track athlete. I was a former All-American. So, and that happened because I was great at following directions, being able to do things that I didn't understand why I was doing it, but I trusted the process and I trusted the system.
Yeah. And you talk about being a track athlete. You went to Drake University?
In Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay. What was that like for you traveling and, going and doing meets and everything and competing?
It was, when you're in sports, you're in this sort of special place, all right? But, it was still at a heightened time where there was racism, all right? I remember going to, we were on our way to LSU, and we had to stop in Jackson, Mississippi, and then the hotel manager told my coach, you keep that boy in his room. We don't let our boys run out here and be free like that. So make sure he's in that room. Don't let him run free. And my teammates were devastated. I was the only black person on the team.
Wow.
My white team, they were devastated. They had never seen blatant racism at that. It didn't bother me because I'm like, I'm good. And,
Had you experienced?
I'm an All-American. Right. So, I'm feeling like it ain't fazing me whatsoever. All right. So just, those type of experiences, you never forget, but you don't let them hold you back either.
It's interesting when you say that, too, because some people feel like racism, and I had this conversation the other day with Mark Morial about racism and Stephen A. Smith's conversation about it and how it's not as, prevalent as people act like it is.
Okay.
So, but to know that, like, we literally have lived through and experienced things like that, it still exists and it still has impacted things when it comes to buying homes, when it comes to even like bank accounts, when it comes to job opportunities, when it comes to education, all of that.
As a person who grew up extremely poor, I understand living without and having workarounds. I was having a conversation with Dougie Fresh, and I said, how did you learn how to do this beatbox thing? And he was telling me that he played, I think it was saxophone or the trumpet. And then one day he came to school and all the instruments had been stolen.
Wow.
So he said, I tried to make the sounds, myself of the instruments. And that's how he developed the beatbox. He says, imitating the sounds that I heard in my head with my mouth. Yeah. So, sometimes when you don't have it, it brings out the most creative in you. And then you're able to do something that nobody else has done.
What has been inspirational to you? Like, what are some things that you've been watching just to get a gauge on where your head is at?
Well, some of the things that are inspirational to me is TikTok.
You're up on the TikTok, okay?
TikTok. I'm that late night, and I'm just amazed at some of the things that the creators have been able to do.
I look at that and sometimes I'm like, I can't believe this person does not have like a show. You know,
Absolutely.
how creative people.
How
have
many
it.
of
Yeah.
them? You know, that's why I get some of my ideas, from TikTok or from IG, because you're going like, this is just absolutely amazing. Why isn't this a TV show?
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's the real opportunities there.
What about TV and movies that you've been watching?
I
don't know
just,
what do you watch on TV?
I just text Tyler Perry the other night. I said, man, I just watched Uncle Joe's college trip. I said, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I watch everything,
Right.
Especially if it's created by people who of color.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a shot.
Right.
So I watch everything, and I don't just rent it, I buy it, all right?
Okay.
Because I understand the financials behind it.
Yeah, trust me, I got BET Plus.
Good.
But I gotta have it because I think a lot of things that I'm gonna watch and talk about, and I always try to make sure on this show in particular that we platform like Sisters. That's a show that I've always watched, talked about, made topics out of content that's on there because I think we do have the ability and the power to uplift our content, in the way that we need to.
That's they're some of my favorite people personally, and I think that their work with Tyler is amazing, and we continue to sort of be number one in the space with Sisters. So super excited and happy for them.
Now, you said that you listen to Any Ideas, so
you got one for me? You got one?
I got a billion. But,
come on, come pitch me right now.
Listen, I have a show already. No.
We got people watching, so you can pitch me right now, and I can give you some feedback.
I don't want nobody to steal my idea.
Oh, they won't steal it.
I'll tell Mercedes. It was set up. But I love to watch anything that has to do with entrepreneurship. I do think sometimes it's hard to come up with like something that's completely original because I feel like so much has been done. I think right now a lot of people are pitching show ideas about AI, about technology. Obviously, dating shows always do really well. I'm in the process of watching Love is Blind right now. What do you think about like do you ever watch like say a Zeus network and see? No? Okay.
Sometimes. Sometimes I watch it.
No, because a lot of people have started their own streaming services, and like you said, there's so many different things out there that's available for people. But those baddies are going crazy.
Well, I think if you're in a creative space, you have to open up your mind to everything.
Did you watch the America's Next Top Model docuseries?
I did not.
Okay. It's just explosive when you think about how reality TV was back then and hearing these stories, everything I think in general was so much when it comes to stand-up comedy, when it comes to even radio and broadcast, just the things that people did back then compared to where we are today. I know you've seen.
I've seen many things. I think, for example, who would have thought Survivor would have survived this long?
Right.
I mean, it's just absolutely amazing when you think about a reality show. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, because most people say you do reality shows for 2 or 3 years and then you move on. What is Survivor now? Like 16, 17, 18 years, something like that?
Not a game.
Yeah.
Or Shark Tank.
Yeah, Shark Tank.
Yeah.
I know Damon. I'm just like, did anybody ever think it would last that long?
Listen, but it's a great concept, and it helps people learn how to pitch, an idea.
Yeah,
so
how to pitch an idea and what the things about when you're running a business. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you one last thing. We all saw about Jimmy Kimmel's suspension and FCC and things like that. And I know you said that has not been an issue for you, nothing trickling down. But to forecast for the future, what are some things that you have in place just to make sure that to prevent any issues?
Well, I do not want to squash the creative process, all right? So I want people to be free to come up with ideas and executions that make sense for the consumer. If we come to a point where somebody challenges on that, we'll deal with that. But I want people to understand, we're not trying to be so safe that, people don't do this, don't do that, because what we've seen happen other places.
Right.
We want to serve our community fully. We want to serve our community deep, and we want to represent our culture strong.
Yeah, I would like to see BET do some, get a little edgy as well.
Well, now remember we were edgy for a long time.
I don't mean on
we were edgy for a long time. I remember we had a CEO and people was protesting in front of her house, all right, because we were so edgy. All right, so we've had our era of edginess, all right?
Okay, strategically edgy, you know.
Okay, strategically edgy. I'm good with that.
There we go. But I appreciate you so much for coming through. I'm going to be watching to see all the moves that you make so we can make sure we support any way that we can.
All right.
What about podcasts? Because I feel like that's been something on networks.
We do have a podcast strategy, and we're asking podcasters to sort of share their content with us on our platform. It's just a distribution strategy where you just get greater distribution.
Okay.
All right. We should figure out a way to do something together, and I'm serious about that.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Okay.
You got me. No.
All right.
All right, but I appreciate you again, and we're going to keep on talking and keep this dialogue going, because if there's ways we can, help in any way, if there's, Mercedes, if there's shows you want to make sure you mention this, announcements, I'm going to be looking for them, but if y'all could send it to me, even if it's embargoed for a day, I don't mind, I hold on to it, I play by the rules. So.
I appreciate that. All right.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved. I'm really excited to see what this next chapter is going to be like.
I appreciate you.